Welcome. My name is Lorenz. This is System Self, and today we're talking about blessing. Let me start with a story. For years, I struggled with how to respond to homeless people on the street who are asking for money, how to respond appropriately, because obviously I can't give everyone money and I don't have the time to offer everyone meaningful assistance. It didn't sit right with me to just walk by and pretend like they weren't there or awkwardly look away and say I'm sorry. I wanted to respond with more humanity, acknowledging their situation and acknowledging that I wasn't in a position to offer them assistance in that moment. And after reflecting on it for a very long time, the most appropriate response that came up for me was to offer a blessing, was to literally look them in the eye, be fully present, and say, "Bless you," and move on. I shared this story with a friend a while ago, and he said, "Well, who are you to offer a blessing? Are you ordained? Are you a priest?" Of course not. But what does it mean to offer a blessing? Do I need to be ordained in order to offer that to somebody? People say this all the time, right? Bless you. Every time someone sneezes, there's a bunch of people that will respond and say, "Bless you." What does that mean? Is there significance in that statement? Or many people might say grace or some sort of blessing before they eat food. And is there any significance in that ritual, or is it something that is just done for the sake of doing it because that's the way it's been done for a very long time? You know, there are many rituals that we engage with thoughtlessly. We don't consider the essence behind those rituals. And almost every ritual at essence is about a certain type of presence. It's about being present with what you are doing in that moment. So what does it mean to genuinely say "bless you" to another person? What is the significance of a blessing? In the yogic tradition, you have the concepts of Shakti and Bhakti. And we're going to examine blessing through the lens of these two concepts. Shakti is the concept of all-powerfulness. So in the scope of the universe, it is the power of the force of creation. And Bhakti is the force of devotion. It is the one's insignificance and you could say powerlessness in the scope of the universe, in the scope of creation. And the two are very much interrelated. They very much flow into each other. You could say Shakti without Bhakti is destructive, and Bhakti without Shakti is fruitless. So it's very powerful to understand how the two interrelate and how they flow into each other. Now, you don't have to buy into these concepts. Things like blessing, Shakti, Bhakti, prayer, they're all concepts. And it's very helpful to be able to explore these concepts without being attached to what their meaning might be, to whether or not you agree with those concepts, but rather to explore how they feel in practice. What does it feel like to consider yourself all-powerful? And from that position, if you were all-powerful, if you were responsible for everything around you, if you created the universe, you might consider that you have goodwill to everything around you, similarly to the way you might have goodwill to a child, to your child. If you created everything and you were all-powerful, well, it might be natural to imagine that you have goodwill towards everything in that creation. And so imagine stepping into that power and projecting that goodwill towards everything, towards the people in that creation, towards the homeless people on the street. And how does that feel as just purely an exploratory exercise? And similarly, in the scope of bhakti, if you consider your powerlessness, your helplessness in the face of all the challenge and suffering around you, in the face of the human condition, And how might you respond? Well, you might respond with a prayer, just to pray that, to whatever creative force might be out there, that it somehow help this person, that it somehow serve to elevate this person and make their condition easier. And projecting that sense of genuine desire for the goodwill of another, to genuinely pray for that person's well-being, might be the most natural devotional response, to just surrender to that, to your own helplessness in the face of the suffering going on around you. In the Buddhist tradition, you have the concept of the Metta meditation, also known as loving kindness. And this is a very similar, you could say identical practice of considering what is the highest aspiration that you want for yourself. So you might say, I want to be happy, I want to be loved, I want to be free of pain. And to project that towards the people around you, to project that to your family, to your friends, and then to go and project that to people in your life that maybe challenge you, to people that you might have negative feelings towards, to work with that, to genuinely desire for their well-being. And then to finally to project that to all beings. May all beings be happy. And there's medical research that shows that this practice significantly improves mental states, that it significantly improves your own well-being. And this alone is perhaps the most practical reason to practice this kind of orientation, to step into offering people goodwill and to be fully present with that, right? We're surrounded by so many challenging situations, so many people that are in need of goodwill. And how do we respond to that? Do we just walk away, pretend like they're not there? Is there a way that we can meaningfully acknowledge the reality that is all around us? And this is where blessing and really embracing that from these many different perspectives of loving kindness, of truly stepping into your power and as an omnipotent being offering goodwill to another, to what does that feel like to be abundant, it's so abundant in goodwill in the face of challenge that you can share that and offer that to others meaningfully, sincerely, with your whole heart. And at the same time, what does it mean to recognize your own helplessness in the face of the human condition and to just surrender to that and pray that whoever is struggling, that they are taken care of. And in that process, you actually realize how much it gives you to offer that, how good it feels, how amazing it feels. You don't need to take my word for this. Try it. It literally takes 2 or 3 minutes to just settle into stillness and consider the people in your life and offer them blessings. Offer them your genuine goodwill for their well-being. And of course, it starts with you. Offer yourself that goodwill for your well-being and recognize your own challenges. Because when you recognize the challenges of another person, if you walk down New York City and you see all these people struggling on the street, it can help put your own challenges in perspective, right? You can all of a sudden, you're like, wow, if you're really, really present to that, you're like, wow, I have these challenges, but these people have these challenges, right? And so it can put things in perspective, but not in a way that diminishes your challenges, but rather in a way that acknowledges the universality of human challenge. And by being present and compassionate to the challenges of another, it becomes a little easier to be present and compassionate to your own challenges, to really acknowledge how challenging it is for you to offer yourself compassion and empathy for going through that. And similarly, the reverse is true. By offering yourself compassion and empathy and genuine acknowledgement of being with the challenge of your challenges, it becomes easier to acknowledge that in others. And that's where that human experience comes into play. When we can walk by another person and be fully present to them, there is an opportunity for meaningful human connection that transcends any sort of status, situation, or condition that is just like, hey, I'm human, you're human, and I genuinely wish for your well-being. That's a blessing. All right, my friends, thank you for watching. This is System Self, where my commitment to you is subtle insights that offer significant changes. Please share this video with a friend, subscribe to the YouTube channel. I look forward to our conversations in the future. Much love.